believe this is our longest video. We're shoving our entire model into place, so let's get to it fast as possible. Alrighty, we need to get our refresh command in here. Refresh commands, plural. Sorry about that. I'm also having a general problem with typing right now. I just had catfish, so that must be the reason. Catfish have somehow affected my typing abilities. So we'll do the build canvas last, but let's go ahead and get it out here. Like I said, I really want to take this over to the web view or Win2D, away from the vector graphics, because of the XAML vector graphics do not support clips. But just getting those stubbed out. Opening up the segment part. We'll need to convert each path part to a bezier and back to a line, etc. by inserting points into our main collection. I thought about doing a more 3D model approach and just have each part point to a vector, but then you would need a clean method. And when you have two paths that make up a shape, or three paths, multiple paths make up a shape, each path's starting vector is another path ending vector. And that becomes much more difficult if you're using the 3D method of having the vertices having indexes and pointing to them. So instead, we're just doing a start index, end index. Our parent, of course, is a segment, and so we are checking making sure we're not going past the end of its vertices. As I said, each path start index is the next, or each path end index is the next path start index. We're getting a normal between those two vertices, so we know where to put our bezier points, and initially our curve points, our control points. And it, of course, put that, it keeps putting the ABS numerics namespace in there, and that's just annoying. So we normalize our vector, get the length between our two vectors also. We're going to shoot the first control point 25% away from us. So we're shooting the vector, the first control point will be our current starting vector plus our normal times a quarter. And I guess I should have done that half. The V22 should have been half instead of a quarter, but And we're inserting after on our vertex. First we'll put the last one in, then we'll put the first control point in. to stub out my methods over here. So on this pass, we're not going to worry about inserting paths in between paths, but I have already prepared for that for later on. For this tutorial, I just want to get the very basic vector graphics thing out there. I don't expect you to do exactly how I do it after the tutorial, but I'm trying to get a good starting point here. We need to refresh our parent, our path will refresh the segment, which will refresh the layer, which will refresh the model view, which will tell everybody that I have a new drawing for you to display. So I'm trying to stick with a very tight model view architecture when really I guess I should have a singleton up in the model view and just call that and tell it to refresh. But I decided to go ahead and bubble it all the way up. I actually thought about this as example for those of you that want to be a very pure MVVM kind of developer. And there's another thing that I need. On the one hand, we're doing the very true event bubbling thing. On the other hand, we have a bunch of methods that are public. Truthfully, they should be internal, I guess. We're almost a third of the way there for this video, so I think I got it timed out pretty good. I would love to skip around some of this stuff, but then it would make no sense. Too much silence. I need to type faster. So we have to adjust for removal to tell the parent to adjust all the children that are after this path to adjust their indexes, because I just removed some vertices, some points from our collection. And we'll just call these methods in the actual property. Alrighty. So we actually have a reason or this is actually what the parent will call, saying one of your siblings have changed. Now you need to change your start index. If my start index, since we're moving 1 or 2 points each time, my start index will be incremented. The second method will actually be called multiple times. Now, for every method other than our path index itself, the one we're actually modifying, of course, we could check over here if the start index is valid to modify it, but we do that in the path itself. So tomatoes and tomatoes to me. What? Microsoft? I'm looking at my reference code. And I'm typing. I'll come over and I'll look at the what I've typed, and it's like, that's not the same thing, Microsoft. Of course, I don't have to be worried about Skynet. The Terminator is not coming. He has a bug. They never really did that in Terminator, in any of the Terminators. And we need the get path part, especially if we decide to bring in a method for clipping. For those of you that are impatient, I'm typing as fast as I can and thinking at the same time. All right, we need to get trying to fill out these methods as fast or as soon as we stub them out. We need to roll this up to the parent, bubble this up to the parent to refresh your commands. Because when we select a path or select a different segment, we want the front end to repaint and show the different breakpoints. Alrighty, what are you doing? Now I don't have color. No, I don't want a helper. I want less namespaces. I can just imagine that meeting. Yeah, let's bring in all the namespaces from the last 30 years and put it in one application. Make it really confusing. We'll have them all pop up. Take your best guess. Do you remember which one it was? It's what everybody wants. That's what they want. I mean, I love the idea of being able to use GDI Plus. In a modern application, because GDI Plus, as I've already shown, does this. The application I have written in WinForms does exactly what I want. I'll default our line to 4. Just some random number. Selected index is really for our front end. It's just a nice place to store it, actually, in the segment. I do not like the method I used to close a path here, because I wanted the last part of the path to be a curve, to allow it to be a curve. So I had to come up with an idea. And I came up with a different idea than what I did in the WinForms project, and I don't like it. And it will be changed, but for right now I'm going to go ahead and use it. And when we do the demo of the project, you'll understand why it's really, in hindsight, not a good idea. All right, these are some front-end properties: show tree view, show properties, and show handles. Our show handles needs to be split up, show NURBs and show handles. Right now we'll just have show handles. The NURBs are the control points and the points of the shape. We need to be able to hide those so we can see what we're drawing. We also need to be able to set the sizes of those, but we're not going to do that right now. It's not in this deliverable. Although we're just delivering to ourselves. Little typo there. fresh commands isn't really needed right there, but for some reason I put it in. Alrighty. Let's get to the draw segment handles. This is a crazy one. Here we are drawing the handles of our curves. We only at present we only show. I done the namespace on. Yeah, I did. I know it did. Just type it in manually. Voice commands. I guess it was voice commands. I guess if you're doing a very simple application, the new IntelliSense is good. But we only have handles on control points, on curves. So it's not a Bezier. I also want to get handle smoothing into this. That's actually important. So we need all of our points. We need the first point of the curve, the last point, both of the control points. But the last point could be the first point of our It's messing with me. I think .NET was just too big. Well, I personally think that .NET's just too big for what they're trying. All right, come on. So we're just doing a path. We don't want to fill, although it will only have 2 points. And we would like to be able to set the color of the stroke of our handles and our stroke thickness. 2 is too big sometimes. And if you're drawing a red shape, the red color of the handle disappears. It's messing with me again. Should be system drawing, shouldn't it? No, it shouldn't be. Not for the XAML. System drawing is WinForms. We're getting there. Only a little bit more to go. Now, of course, we need to add the m_paths. m_paths is our local variable of what the canvas on the front end is going to bind to. Now we need an ellipse on the very end to show the point. Just make it 8 pixels in size. And now for the build canvas. The tour de force. Normally I would split these up into their own videos, but I'm trying to get all this done, each area done in one path. So we're going through all of our layers. The order in which they appear in the tree view is the order they are in our graphics. We're going through each base item in the layers children, converting it to a segment. If it has vertices and it has children, we need to start off our figure with a point. But hereafter, we're just going to add points to that figure. So we simply grab the first point in our vertices array, and thereafter, what you do, no, not for each. He then wants to argue with me. I need the index. Dispatcher, I mean, that's just random. Didn't even type a letter there. So, of course, if it's not a curve, it's easier. want to make sure our last point is within our vertices. It's not, then it's the first point. Now, the 0 segment has 3 points, point 1, 2, and 3. We're in the home stretch. Only minutes left to go. We add our path to our collection of paths. Now we're going to call our draw handles. We do it differently if it's a layer or segment. If it's a layer, we loop through all the segments under that layer. But if it's a single segment, then we just draw that segment. That is it. If you got something out of this, like and subscribe. There's a bunch more coming. We're almost finished. All glory be to God, and I'll see you in the next video.